Hello and welcome once again. My name is Joba and I'll be your host for today. So today we will be looking through different things that you need to do when you first get to the UK. I'll be going through a list which will cover what you need to do in the first 4 weeks, then things you need to do in subsequent weeks. All of this will vary depending on what you aim to achieve, what you aim to do, why you are in the UK, your status in the UK, if you come to the UK as a student, or you've come to the UK as a dependent, or you've come to the UK as a worker. So it will all vary depending on what you are here for or your status of entry into the UK. I can't cover all grounds today, but feel free to send an email, and if you go on the website, you can always reach out to us, and also we'll be able to assist or provide advice in any way we can. Once again, my name is Joba. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a tax advisor. I am not an immigration advisor. This is just based on my own 10 years plus experience in the UK and things that needs to be done. Without wasting too much time. So today I'll be talking through how to get a proof of address, opening a bank account, registering with a doctor, getting a starter job, registering to vote, your NI number, and things like that. I've also prepared a checklist, which is free for you to take. It's on the website livingintheuk.uk. I'll put a link in the description or also in the chat. If you need it, you can get it, and it'll give you a checklist of things you need to do in the first 4 weeks of getting to the UK and things you need to do subsequently as well. Again, this will cover basic things for everybody. It won't go into detail of specific requirements for those who have come on different routes or people with children or people without children, or students who are married with their spouse, depending on them. So there are various aspects to it, but as a basic and general view, it's all going to cover everybody. So my question to you first is, when you come in to the UK, you need to know what you are here for. What's the plan? Are you planning to come, study, and go back? Or are you planning to come, work for a while, and go back? Because all of this will affect and determine what you do, will determine your decisions. So you need to find out what you're here for. Are you here to stay, or you're here for a temporary visit and you're going back, or you're here for study and after your studies, you plan to go back? If that's it, then some of these things might not apply to you. But if your plan is to come and establish a residence here over a period of time, then you need to, most of these things will apply to you. So I'll start with accommodation. When you get into the UK, you need to first find a place to stay. You might have sorted that out from wherever you've come from. If that's done, then that's fine. If not, you may need to find a place to rent. Why I suggest renting is because it will help you in preparing for the future in terms of managing your finances, managing things that you need to do, in terms of managing income and your rents, and being able to pay bills for that period, because renting goes on your credit file, which is something I'll talk about in a bit. You can go direct to landlord, and to get such direct to landlord properties or houses, you need to go on, say, sparerooms.com, open rent, Facebook or Facebook Marketplace, and just search, or Gumtree, and just search for rooms to let or houses to let. And with that, you can easily get a landlord that will speak to you directly and offer you the property to rent. So that is one aspect of it. So again, go to openrent.com, spareroom.com, or maybe it's .co.uk. Spareroom, OpenRent, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, or even Facebook itself. you probably find a landlord that you can speak to directly. Secondly, you can go to agents. So you can go on Zoopla or Rightmove or Yopa or Purple Bricks. There are several estate agents online, and you can go just walk to town in your local area and find a property estate agents that can offer you. Most of them that have properties to let. Most of them will need reference. Most of them will need guarantor. Most of them will need a deposit, at least maybe a month or a month and a half deposit, security deposit, which you get back if the house is fine when you return the house, when you're done with the rental and you are moving out. If the house is okay, then they'll return that to you. Consider the options and make the decision that you feel is best for you. Another reason why I suggested renting is because renting will show on your credit file, which, like I said, I'll get to in a minute. The credit file is your financial status in the UK. It will show every interaction you've had to do with finance in terms of bank or credit card or rental or mortgage or things like that. Rent will also show there, and it will help you start building your credit record. When you're renting, I suggest you go for an opportunity for you to pay some bills. Things like your gas or electricity or water or council tax or your internet. Because most of these also could be a contract, a credit contract, which will also show on your credit file. So for example, your internet, maybe you have a broadband and you sign a contract, a 12-month contract with a provider, that will show on your credit file that, okay, you are, because you pay in arrears. So you use the credit, you use the broadband for the month, then you pay your bill, you're paying your bills. That will show your credibility. And that's just the main reason. But some estate agents and some landlords offer all bills inclusive, meaning you pay everything as part of the rental figure, and that's it. So that's that about rent accommodation. Now your BRP. Why I'm asking that you get your BRP is because sometimes you don't get it when you're coming in. You get an entry clearance visa. Then when you come into the UK, you need to get your BRP, which is your biometric residence permit. That allows you to work. You can work with your entry clearance visa. You can work with the email they send to you or things like that. So you need to try and get that as soon as possible. It could probably be in the address you specified when you were applying for your visa. So it could be at your school, it could be at a local post office or things like that. You need to check and pursue that and get that collected as soon as possible. Following after you've received your biometrics, now you have rights to work. Then, in most cases, your NI number is at the back of your biometrics card. If it's not there, then you need to apply for a national insurance number. That's the NI number. So check the back of your biometrics. If it's not there, then you need to apply. You need to go on gov.uk and search for apply for NI number. So that will give you opportunity to apply, and you need to supply your biometrics and some details so that they can generate a national insurance number for you. Again, you can't work without an NI number because that's what shows how that's what we allow you to work in the UK. The law says you don't have to apply for an NI number if you don't plan to work, but I would say apply regardless, even if you have to, even if you plan to work or not, but I'll still say apply for it. Register to vote. You need to register to vote because that will also show on your credit file. This credit file is very important in the UK. If you plan to make credit applications like for your credit card or for mortgage or for a car loan or anything about loans, you need a credit file, a credit record that is very good, and a credit score that is very good. So registering to vote will show your stability in the country. This is important because If you need to apply for some things like a bank account or some jobs, they need to see a proof of address. And registering to vote is one of the quickest way to get a proof of address. Again, you go on gov.uk and you search for register to vote, or you just go on Google and just search for register to vote in the UK. Most time you need your NI number, but you can still apply without an NI number. Then when you finish the application, you make sure you check the option to have your document posted to you. That letter posted to you could be used as a proof of address for other applications you need to make. Most people face the challenge of not having a proof of address, which could be a challenge. So register to vote at the address you are currently staying. Then that letter can be used as a proof of address for job applications, for bank accounts opening. Once you have those, so now you have your accommodation, you have your biometric residence permit, BRP, you have your NI number, even the letter for your NI number, if it's posted to you, that could also serve as a proof of address. Then register to vote, that can serve as proof of address as well, but most importantly, it will also show on your credit file because you have to be on the electoral record. And that also gives you opportunity to vote in elections in the country. The next thing I will suggest or advise is to get a starter job. There are starter jobs which are like short-term jobs, either as a waitress or as a waiter in a restaurant or as an healthcare support officer or a security job, or there are different types of different opportunities that you can get, but it all depends on the people you meet with as well. Why I'm mentioning this here is that you need to do something first. You need to get some income coming. Even as a student, you can still work up to 20 hours. Find something doing that will generate some income, and that will help you in any further steps you want to take. For example, you may have a future career path, but you need money for the trainings, you need money for retraining or getting UK experience or things like that. You need money for that, and the savings that you probably brought into the country will probably be depleting gradually. So you need to find a starter job and just get going. That will also help you in the future things you need to do. Then open a bank account. Once you have a job, you can even open a bank account before getting a job. So banks like Monzo have had people open accounts with Monzo without much documentation. So you can open a bank account easily, but most high street banks, Monzo is an online bank, but most high street banks will require you to have your NI number, will require you to have your proof of identity, which is your international passport and your residence permit, then a proof of address, which will be your letter from the government to register to vote, or your rent agreements, or your letter from your school, letter from your employer, things like that could serve as a proof of address. Then any other additional information they may require. Once you've opened a bank account, I will also suggest you register with a GP, with a doctor. Registering with a general practitioner or a doctor in the UK is quite straightforward. Coming into the UK, you will have paid, or most people will have paid, NHS surcharge, and that entitles you to free basic healthcare under the NHS. To receive this, you need to register with a doctor, which is called a general practitioner, a GP. And according to the NHS website, anyone in the UK or in England can register with a GP surgery. It is free. You're not charged for it. You don't need a proof of address. You don't need an immigration status or an ID. You don't need an NHS number. You need to register around where you live, because GPs are based on catchment areas. So you need to register with a local GP around where you are. So even though the law or the NHS website states you don't need a proof of address, you don't need ID and things like that, it will be easier if you go to register with a proof of address, with your ID and biometrics resident permit. That will make the process smoother. Then you'll be issued with an NHS number. That will be your unique ID for healthcare in the country. And with that, if you have any issues, you can easily just book an appointment with your GP, check the COVID rules, if it's going to be a phone call or you have to go in. But in an emergency, you can always walk to an A&E, accident and emergency, and you will be attended to. So that's that with registering with a general practitioner. You can also register with a dentist. Registering with a dentist is a subsidized treatment under the NHS. It's not free completely. Some people can get free treatment. For example, if you are pregnant or if you are aged under 18 or under 19 and in education, if you're pregnant or you've had a baby in the past 12 months, although you will need your Math B1 certificate, which your GP will give you to say you're pregnant, or if you're staying in an NHS hospital and the hospital dentist is the one carrying out your treatment, or you're an outpatient in an NHS dental service, and some other, or if you receive some benefits, which could entitle you to receive a free dental treatment. So those are the people that receive free dental treatment. All of this is also available on NHS website, nhs.uk, and you can just search for dentists or dental treatments, and you should have information about that. So what I have covered so far is what I believe you should do within the first 4 weeks of getting into the UK. Yes, it could take longer. Yes, it could take a shorter time, but those are the first few things I would suggest you do, because without your BRP, without your NI number, you can't really do much. You can't get a job. You can't apply for things, because the NI number will identify who you are. Is like your ID in the country, and your residence permit is what allows you to come into the country. So without those two, most other things can't be done. Then getting a starter job will help you kickstart other things you want to do in the country as well. I've prepared a checklist. I'll be providing this in the comment section or in the description below, so you can have a look at it and tick to see the ones you have achieved. It's also on the website. I'll be moving to things I believe you can do in the next 4 weeks to 6 months, covering things you can do from week 4 to week 30. I call this learning and building. Again, like I said, this won't cover different aspects, different categories of people coming into the UK. For example, people have come into the UK with kids. There are other areas where they need to look into. There are things that will be more of a priority to them than a single person coming into the UK, or a new couple coming into the UK, or a student coming into the UK, or people coming into the UK without kids. So it will vary, but all I'm going to be talking about will be covering basic information that will cover everybody. So now that you've gotten a job, now that you have your BRP, you have your NI number, you have an account, you register with a doctor, and you have a starter job, then it's a matter of what next do I do? You need to build your credit file, and you can start that by getting a SIM-only contract. So instead of buying a phone or pay as you go phone line, you can get a SIM-only contract. Make sure it's a pay monthly contract. You could compare online, go on USwitch or Compare the Market or any of the comparison websites, and do the comparison to see the best package for you. Data, calls, minutes. Some may offer international calls as part of their packages, but just look at it and try to apply for it online. If you're rejected online, I would say go into the store with your employment letter and bank statements and your IDs. Most time, when they see all of that physically, because most of the online processes are all digitized, is probably systems that is making that decision and will automatically, based on rules that they've preset, will probably just automatically deny you because you don't have a long enough record in the UK. But if you walk into the store, you can always easily get something that you can, you just tell them you found this online, but you try to apply, but you were not successful. So you like to get this package. These are your IDs and things like that. Then they should be able to give it to you and sign you up right there. Then that will show on your credit file. as another entry. The next thing will be you should attempt to register on a credit agency. So things like Credit Club, Credit Karma, or ClearScore. In the UK, there are 3 credit agencies. So if you want to apply for, like when you were applying for the SIM-only contract, they will check your credit file. So they could either check Equifax, Xperia, or Trust Union. So it's one of those 3. However, if you want to open an account with those 3, there is a fee attached. Credit Club, ClearScore, and Credit Karma, they are external websites that feed data from these 3 credit agencies. Credit Club uses Xperia, ClearScore uses Equifax, and Credit Karma uses Trust Union. And these are free to open. You register on there, then you can see a record of your credits there. Most of them, you get your credit file updated every 7 days. So after a while that you've opened the SIM-only contract, you can register with any of them or all of them and check your credit file and see what is there. Then it can help you track. They will show you things you need to do to improve it, things you need to do better, more of, or things you need to slow down on, and things like that. It will help you in building that. The next thing I would advise is to save up a starter emergency fund of £1,000. They say save for the rainy day because it will rain. You may say you're in good health or you have a good job or things are going well for now. It's always good to have a buffer. And I'm not saying save up 6 months of savings. That's the goal, but start with £1,000 in cash in a savings account and just keep it there. Know that when there's an emergency, you won't you won't go into debt trying to pull yourself out. Try and save up £1,000 and just keep it there. Know that, okay, this is buffer money, emergency, only for emergency. Say you don't have, you lost your phone today or something like that. That is not an emergency for you to go and pull out the money. Very, very serious emergency. That is what that money should be for. Again, this is also on the checklist. Once you've saved up the emergency fund, I think the next thing also could be register for a basic credit card to build your credit score. This, you can also find it out in the credit agencies you've registered with. They will show you options that is available to you, if any. If there is none, you can skip this. We'll talk about finance on another day because that's a whole lot. There's a lot to cover in that aspect on its own. When you apply for a basic credit card, the main thing is for you to use it to build your credit score. So that means that each month when you get the bill, you have to clear it, you have to pay it off immediately. Don't spend it if you don't have the cash. Don't use your credit card if you don't have the cash to pay it off. So instead of using your debit card or cash, you use your credit card. And credit card also give you protection. If you buy things online and it turns out to be a scam, you can always go back to your credit card company and they will help you sort it out. So it offers a layer of protection when you're shopping online or you're buying things. Only spend it when you have your cash. Then you use your credit card to pay for it. When the bill comes, then you pay the cash into the credit card to clear it so that you don't accrue any interest. Interest rate on credit cards are very high. They are like 19% upward. So spend it wisely. Now you have a starter job. You're starting to save up your emergency fund. It's a matter of now, what do you want to do in the country? What jobs, where was your career path? So now I'm talking about career options. Career options in the UK is available. There's a lot of career options. They are quite competitive, but they are very achievable. Depending on your background, you can choose to start from scratch, or you can choose to transition into something else. Let me use myself as an example. When I'm a first generation immigrant to the UK, when I came in to this country, I had my degree in economics, but I transitioned to do a master's in computer science. That means I had to retrain, I had to learn, I had to volunteer to get that UK experience, to get that UK skill set, to get that the skill set I need in the job market. So the next thing on the agenda, on the checklist, is to start volunteering or gaining UK work experience in your preferred field. For example, you could want to go into social work. It could mean that you first start volunteering in an health sector to get how to relate with people, because you're coming into a different culture. The way you interact with people in your culture could be different from the way people expect you to interact in the UK. So getting into that environment is very key, and knowing what is expected of you is very key. Start looking for volunteer opportunities. It could be in your local charity, local church, local bookshop, or local library. Volunteer, offer your time. When you give in value, you definitely receive something in return. I use myself as an example as well. I volunteer when I came in, and where I volunteered, they were able to give me reference. When I applied for a job, they were able to give me reference for that job. Yes, I wasn't paid, but I got the reference, which helped me to get the job I wanted to get. So start volunteering, look for where you can offer your services for free. 2-3 months, get that experience, work hard there, be committed, be dedicated to it. Then start putting your CV together and start applying for the job you want to do. Why I'm saying this is, you need the UK experience, you need the skill sets to actually get into the job market. If you're transitioning, you need to relearn, you need to retrain, you need money for this. This is where this is why I mentioned the starter job. You need money to do the training and to do some exams, or for example, doctors coming in, we need to do their PLAB, I don't know, some medical certifications. People coming in from different spheres of life. Teachers, for example, we need to retrain to a QTS certification in the UK. All of this cost money. So that's where the starter job will help you in gaining this expertise and experiences and skill set to go to where you want to get to. But without a starter job and you're aiming for that, except if there's cash that you have stack up, then that's fine. You can always just dip in, do the training, volunteer, get experience, and get the job. It is doable. It's not something scary. It's doable. They are humans. You come in, you do your job, put in your best, and you get the best out of it. Then you can progress. The first thing is to get into that setting. Once you're in the setting of your field, then you can always grow and move up as you develop yourself. Start volunteering or gaining UK work experience in your preferred field. Once you've gained enough experience, then start applying for professional jobs or for jobs in your field. Put your CV together and start applying. You can use websites like Reed, Total Jobs, Indeed, jobs.co.uk, or you can just walk into town and find employment agencies that are just in town. In your local town, you can just walk into there and find employment agencies there. Adeco is an example where you can just walk in, they find a job for you, or if there's a job vacancy they have at hand, you can just put your CV in and things can go from there. Or you can just basically just Google the type of job you want. So if it's an accountancy job, just do a financial accountant job in London, in Manchester, in Birmingham, in Luton, in Northamptonshire, in Scotland, wherever. Just Google it. You see a lot that will come up. Look at them. The ones that you feel you've had the experience and you can do. Put your CV together, start applying. We can have a different topic on career and building your CV and things like that. But today is more of an overview of things that you need to do. And once you start putting your CV together, start applying, and don't lose faith. Just keep at it. Keep implementing the feedback. When you get a rejection, try and go back to them and ask for feedback so that you can implement that feedback in your CV and to improve yourself, because that helps you to actually grow. And don't be scared of interviews. Go for it, learn from it, and move on. Go for it, learn from it, and move on and improve. One thing I've seen that people struggle again with is when their initial biometrics is running to an end. They don't always have a plan, or they don't have the money for the next visa. Once you get a job, research about your next visa. You know, at the beginning, I said, when you're coming into the UK, you need to have a plan. What's your goal? How long are you planning to stay here? Okay, you're coming in on a student visa. After the student visa, do you qualify for post-study? Okay, if you qualify for post-study, how long is the post-study going to be for? Is for 2 years, or is it for 3 years if you're doing PhD? What's the cost of applying for that visa? If you're coming with children, what's the cost of applying for that visa for yourself, your wife, or your family? What's the cost of, if it's just you, what's the cost? Do that research. Have the goal, have the figure written down. Then how long before I need to apply for that visa? For example, if it's 6 months from today to apply for that visa, and the fee for that visa, for example, is 1,200, that means you need to save £200 per month to get to the 1,200 in 6 months. So that by the time you need to apply for that visa, you are not stressed. You are not in any panic because you know you've saved for it. And when it's time for the visa, you just apply for it and you have peace of mind. You don't put yourself under undue pressure. Planning is very key in the UK because things can just happen at a shocker. That's part of why I said save up the emergency fund, because things happen. So research and start saving for your next immigration visa application. Once you start researching into your next visa application, start saving that money. If you plan to buy a house in the UK, this will tie into your initial plan of coming in. If you're planning to come in and you don't plan to buy a house, or you're coming in to just study and go back, then that's fine. But if you're coming in and you plan to buy a house, most time you need at least 5% deposit of the value of the house you want to buy, on top of stamp duty tax, on top of the legal fees and things like that. If you are under 39 and you plan to buy a house in the UK, I would advise that you open a lifetime ISA. An ISA is an individual savings account. By lifetime ISA, you can only use it to buy your first, money you put in there, you can only use it to buy your first home, or you use it for your retirement. You can only open it before your age 39, but you can keep putting money into it up to close to your 50s. If you are under 39 and you plan to buy a house, I would advise to open a lifetime ISA as soon as possible. If you don't plan to save in it yet, just open it so that it starts ticking. And why do I say that? Because the government will give you a 25% bonus on any money you put into that towards your home or towards your retirement. So for example, if you need £10,000 as your deposit, if you save £8,000, if you need, for example, you save £1,000, government will give you £250 on top, free money, 25%. It's always good to open it and start saving the money there little by little, little by little. You have a maximum of £4,000 per year that you can save. So if you save £4,000, government will give you £1,000 on top. Each year you could be having £1,000 extra on top of it. So be prepared, open the account. If you're under 39, it's free to open, and any interest that it accrues is tax-free because it's an individual savings account. Once you have that, the government will top it up for you. And when it's time to buy a house, you can always buy a house. Most time, you can't buy a house until you are like 3 years in the country, because most mortgage providers will ask that you have a 3-year address history in the country. That is why you need to register to vote the moment you come in. So if you follow the checklist that is available, so you can have a look at it and see what you need to do. Something to also add in the if you want to buy a house in the UK is, for example, if you want to buy a £200,000 house, and if you're married, you as an husband or as a wife, both of you can open individual lifetime savings accounts and get your bonuses separately. So if the partner A saves 4,000 in a year, the government will top it up with 1,000. Partner B was able to also save up 4,000 in a year, government will top it with 1,000. That means you both have 10,000 in that year. Next year, you can do the same. That's in 3 years, you can have 20,000 saved. And that will be a 10% deposit on a £200,000 house. That shows you how quick it's possible if you double up and you work as a team. Once you've registered for that, if you wish to buy a house, then I will also advise that you have a provisional driving license. It's an additional proof of ID. Some people request for 2 proof of ID, or it could also serve as your proof of address because your address will be in your driving license. You can also apply for it online. Just go to gov.uk and apply and search for provisional driving license. So all of these that I've mentioned are on the checklist. Just go on the website livingintheuk.uk. You will see a button there to say free checklist. Click on that button and you can put in your details and you get a copy of the checklist. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. So you can just get that. So final thing I'll be talking about is settlement strategies. So I've spoken about getting a proof of address. I've spoken about opening a bank account, registering with a doctor, career options, building your credit. Now, settlement options and strategies. When you are in the UK, there are several settlement options. I'm not a financial advisor, as I said at the beginning. I am not a tax advisor. I am not an immigration advisor. This is based on my experience. There is tier 1 visa, which is like an investor if you have a huge amount of money you want to invest in the UK, or tier 1 exceptional talent. If you're very exceptional in your field of study, you have to go through some process and they can give you a visa to stay in the UK. Or if you're an entrepreneur, that also happens. But the common routes are either through students, and after being a student, now you can apply for a post-study of 2 years if you're coming for a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. Or if you're coming for a PhD, you can apply for a 3-year post-study. The quickest way to be in the UK to get your indefinite leave to remain, which is like you are outside of immigration control, is through one of the investor options, which is if you have like 10 million pounds to invest in the UK, you normally will get a visa. You can get your indefinite leave to remain in 3 years. That's if you have like 10 million to invest. However, there are other routes as well. For example, if you are married to a UK citizen or to a UK resident, you can get your indefinite leave to remain after 5 years in that marriage. Then you can apply for your naturalization, which would make you a citizen. Immediately you get your indefinite leave to remain. That exception is only for those who are married to UK citizens. If you are not married to a UK citizen and you are able to get your indefinite leave to remain through other means, you can only apply for naturalization a year after your indefinite leave to remain. So, what are the options? As a student, you can get after your post-study, if you get a job and the company can sponsor you on a tier 2 visa, then after 5 years on that job, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. However, if you can also apply for indefinite leave to remain if you spent a total of 10 years in the UK. So maybe you've been studying for PhD for 3 years, you now got a post-study of 3 years, that's 6 years, then you got a job. You don't have to spend the whole 5 years with that company or at that job before you can apply for your indefinite leave to remain, because you've done 6 years already. And in 4 years in the job, that makes 10 years. You can apply for your indefinite leave to remain based on the time you've spent in the UK. If you're coming as a tier 2 worker, you can also, after 5 years with that company or with the organization, you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. Then your spouse or whoever is depending on you can apply as dependents on you. Then over time, you can apply for your naturalization and your British passport. So there are different routes to that, but it all takes planning. It's not cheap. It all takes research and and having the right information. I can't cover everything in this 1 hour session, but I just feel it's good for you to know some of the options available. You can come as a dependent on if you're married, or you're able, if you got married in the UK and you have you're married to a citizen, then you can apply to live in the UK after 5 years in the marriage. If you give birth in the UK and your children have lived, or your child or children have lived 7 years in the UK, and they've not known any other place outside the UK, you can apply for them to have indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Then you as a parent can apply as their dependent. So for example, if you have kids in the UK and they have lived 7 years in the UK, they can apply for indefinite leave to remain, and you as a parent can apply as their dependent if you don't qualify in other ways. That's another option that you can use. So the most common one is the marital, which is the spousal option, 5 years in the marriage, or you've lived 10 years in the UK, or your children have lived 7 years in the UK, or you're able to get a job to sponsor you for a 5-year visa period, then you can apply for indefinite leave to remain in the UK. Of all of these options I've listed, only the spousal one allows you to apply for your naturalization immediately you get your indefinite leave to remain. All the other options, you have to wait a year after your indefinite leave to remain before you can apply. So these are some of the options. These are some of the options. These are some of the opportunities that is available to stay in the UK. So in conclusion, I'll be holding more of these sessions on different topics. This is more of an introduction, and I've just skimmed through a lot of things. I'm sure many people may want to hear more into different topics. If you have other topics you have in mind, put them in the comment section, and I'll do videos on them, or create another session where we can all interact on that. Don't forget to share with friends and family and anyone that you feel will be interested in this sort of topics. Thank you very much, and have a blessed weekend, and wishing you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you. Bye for now.